best y'all got. Tryna make a dollar, flip it like it's vinyl. Tryna make a way. What's it worth to you if the price too high? Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Give me your best. Don't say nothing less, cause I'm giving you 100. How you always leaving me with nothing? I'm not impressed. It's gonna take more than this, cause I'm giving you 100. And I don't even know if I can trust you for nothing.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. Y'all back in the saddle, back in the old mainland U.S. Yes, that is not an illusion. My eyes do look that tired. Y'all, I am not joking. I am beat, but I'm going to give you everything I've got this morning and hopefully give you guys some nuggets. I have invited Christy, but she feels like I felt when I went to bed last night. I can assure you she ain't getting up this morning. But Vanessa Sell, first in the door, good morning. Teal, Michelle Tilson, Anne-Marie, Casey, Kristen, good morning, fam. Good gosh, it's good to see you guys. I am so happy to be back with you, although I am a little sad that we're not still in Puerto Rico, because if you've never been to Puerto Rico, I'm going to tell you right now, that is absolutely worth the trip. And to be honest with you, and I'm being really, really straight with you, it is as cost effective as going to 30A. I'm not joking. It is, but you get such a better. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that this morning. So good morning, everybody. Glad to be back. As you can see, I'm back in Tennessee. Christy is back in Georgia. We diverted paths at San Juan, Puerto Rico yesterday morning. And just so you know, Puerto Rico is an hour ahead of you guys. Our flight took off from San Juan yesterday morning at 6, which is 4 o'clock a.m. Central, 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern. We were up in the resort was an hour from the hotel or an hour from the airport, which meant we were up at 3 o'clock. I guess it's Atlantic time. So we were up at 3 o'clock Atlantic, which is 2 o'clock a.m. Eastern, which is 1 o'clock a.m. Central, and then had to come back to Tennessee, being that far behind, and get everything done for the day. So needless to say, when I went to bed last night at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., I was spent. So I'm a little compressed this morning. I wish I could tell you I was so disciplined that I jumped up out of bed, wiped my little pretty face, and said, you know what, let's have this day. But I didn't, man. Me and Alexa battled this morning when the alarm went off. So good morning. Hope everybody had a fan. How was y'all's weekend? Was everybody's weekend good? Get in their comments. Y'all know how the deal is. Well, let me do this. Let's do our introduction, and then we'll get rolling. My name's Aaron Dwyer. My wife Christine Dwyer and I started a company called Exit Realty Lake Country. We have offices in Georgia and in Tennessee, and every single morning we get up at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, and share some time with our agents. We share some encouragement. We share some words. Try to motivate. Try to inspire. Try to get them off to a good start. What started as sort of an idea for us to stay connected turned into this call with our agents every single morning. So a group of our agents, a group of folks who love us and we love them on the Exit Realty Lake Country Nation, get up with us, and we spend about 45 minutes to an hour together and just love on each other, because we know. This is a psychological fact that if you get off to a good start in your morning, you have got a significantly, exponentially good chance of having a great day. And if we can string enough good days together, we can have some fantastic lives. So thank y'all for being here. Good morning. That's awesome. Awesome, Teal. Casey Duncan, 2 listing appointments. Heck yeah. USAF reunion. Diane, is that you? You're still showing up as a Facebook user, so you're not showing up with your name. So I'm guessing that's Diane. Far up in East Tennessee. I hope I'm not stepping out and saying that's something incorrect. Let me get to my groups here. Oh, cool. Everybody, Diane Farr is with us from East Tennessee. Good morning, Diane. She's joining us from Exit Realty Lake Country Nation. So what's up? Y'all, I don't even know where to start. I know if Christy were here, she would tell me where to start or where she'd start going, but I'm just gonna get going. We are going to talk about, because we are on day 20 of and maybe this is where we start. Got it. Diane Farr had a U.S. Air Force reunion. That's awesome. Everybody, y'all, I wish you could see my legs. Just so you know, even though the breeze is blowing, even though it's a comfortable high 70s, low 80s, a little bit of cloud in the sky, the Puerto Rican sun will still burn you. Just BT dubs. I am super protective of my feet, and so because I got sunburned when I was 14 in Destin, and had to try to get in the hot tub after being sunburned on my feet at 14, and it was an absolutely excruciatingly painful experience. So now I put sunscreen on my feet, and that's about it. So Christy put sunscreen on my back, and she's not very good at that because I'm not sure if y'all have ever met my wife. She gets a little scattered, and when there's like 15 other people to talk to, and she's trying to put sunscreen on my back, she can sometimes get distracted by that. So I have a big red streak on my back. It seems to be sort of par for the course. I need a roller so I can just roll my sunscreen on, because I have a big red streak on my back about that. I mean, it's like that big, that's on my back where she missed. But I put sunscreen on my feet and did not put it on my legs, and now my legs are smoked. So I've got little lobstery legs, little lobstery arms. You can kind of see a little sunburned hand. You can't really see in this light, but the Puerto Rican sun will sunburn you. Just a little history and a little why I believe that the island of Puerto Rico may be God's chosen island is there are no snakes on the Isle of Puerto Rico. Cheers, Puerto Ricans. Cheers. Y'all, I'm going to talk about that just a little bit, because the number 20 today, y'all know for the last, 2 weeks, I guess, 2.5 weeks, we've been going through Grant Cardone's 32 things successful people do that unsuccessful people don't do. And so we're on 20, number 20 there. And number 20 today is be goal-oriented. Be goal-oriented. So I want you to keep be goal-oriented in your mind as I kind of progress through the last 4 days for us. And just how this all sort of ties into being goal-oriented, and how I want you to understand being goal-oriented, and how I want you to understand when you set your mind on something, when you set your focus and intention on something, when it becomes something that you drive for, and everything else can still have a place in your life, but you're driving to that end result. You're driving to that goal. And I think this really plays into where we were this last weekend, and who we talked to this last weekend, what we did this last weekend. So number 20 for Grant Cardone, and these 32 things are from Grant's book, The 10X Rule, which a cool thing is, y'all hang on one second. All right, sorry, y'all. Jagger's got Tuesday is tourist day at school, so he's dressing up as a tourist. And as you can imagine, as a dad, I don't go all out on these little theme show kind of days that kids have at school. So he's doing his best version of tourist day at Dad's house, because I'm not the guy that goes and buys the hats and the silly whatevers to go wear tourist day. So he's just go brush your hair. So he's just swimming trunks and a t-shirt, Pineapple Willie's t-shirt and a lei, and Good morning, Jessica. So, and I'm going to try to explain this weekend without dropping a whole bunch of names, without dropping a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm going to have to kind of put in some perspective what this is and what we did. So y'all, kind of backstory. Again, good morning, Casey, Jessica. Good morning, y'all. Or good morning, Jessica. Good morning. Kind of a backstory. This will be a real backstory. How many of you can agree with me that God has put a special purpose on your life? I don't need you to acknowledge that, because I know that's a true fact. God, when you were born, God in the Bible said, I know every hair on your head. I knew you before you were in. I knew you in your mother's womb. I knew exactly what the plans I had for you. All these things are indications for us that through eons, through the beginning of time, through the formation of the separation of the firmament from the separation of water and land, God knew you. God knew me. God knew what he was going to do with me, through me, what plans he had for me. And then he gave us this thing called free will. He gave us this ability to choose. I've said this in previous calls. Humans are the only species on the planet who have the choice, not a right, not an expectation, not a bent, but we have a choice to not live up to our full potential. We as human beings are the only species on earth who have the ability to not live up to our full potential. A tuna is only going to go be as big as a tuna is going to be. The lion can only go be what the lion's going to go be. The oak tree can only be what the oak tree is going to go be. And it's going to go to as far as it is allowed to go. It will go as far as it can go. The lion's going to go as big and as strong and as far as it can go. The tuna is going to go as big and far as strong as it can go. Human beings are the only species on the planet that have the ability to choose less than our full potential. And when I say that out loud, it's sad. It kind of brings a tear to my eye. It sometimes makes me angry. But right now, it implores me to share with you. God's given us each a special purpose, a special mission, a special thing. He made our arms reach this way to love people, to reach out to people, to help people, to give to people, to bring people into our circle. He gave us eyes in the front of our head so that we can all see where we're going, not where we've been, not what's around us. He wants us to focus this direction. Our heads don't spin all the way around because the only thing that God is focused on us is the only thing we should be focused on, which is this direction, where we're going. Who can we reach out to with our arms and bring in to our circle? Be goal oriented. But here's here's what I would propose to you, that your goals should align with God's purpose for your life. Your goals should align with what you were created to do. Your goals should align with being the best version of you, because guess what? God wants the absolute best out of you, just like he wants the best out of the tuna. Just like he wants the best out of the oak tree, just like he wants the best out of the lion, he wants the best out of you. So here, let me talk about the last 4 days for me. The last 4 days are a culmination and are an intersection of, and I say this, and I mean this, and Christy, and I don't know if Christy says this because she doesn't want people to know this, and I don't think, that's not the right way to say that. I just don't, maybe she doesn't share this fully. This started when I was in Omaha, Nebraska on a hockey trip. When I was in Omaha, Nebraska on a hockey trip, me and Christy were like this. We were contentious forces. We were not locked arm in arm. We were more faced in battling each other than battling with each other. We were battling against each other and instead of battling for each other. Our focus was inward instead of outward. And so me and Christy were in this really contentious time. And when I was in Omaha, I wasn't talking to her a lot. When I was in Omaha, she wasn't talking to me a lot. She was doing her thing. I was doing my thing. And y'all, I'm going to be honest, we were struggling. And we were struggling in a way that I'd never thought that I would ever see us struggle as a result of a lot of things that have been going on since October, of last year. And all those things that have been going on since October. And I'm just being real and authentic with y'all. Because it all builds into this crescendo, which was the last 4 days. And it all ties into being goal oriented. It all ties into God's purpose for your life. Because what I know, when Christy and I stand up in front of you and tell you our purpose in life, my purpose in life, my goal in life, my purpose in life is to make every other person that I can come in contact with a better version of themselves. My purpose in life is to share God's love with them to the degree and to the place that they realize that they have a special purpose inside their gut, a special purpose inside their soul. And I can motivate them and encourage them, push them, direct them to a place where they live out that purpose every single day and the best versions of who they are. Because I know that if I can create individually, each individual person to be the best, help them be the best versions of themselves, y'all, I can change not only the real estate industry, not only our company, not only the real estate industry, but gosh, dog, I can change the world. If I can create enough ripples in the water, if I can create enough individual champions, if I can help you guys find the best versions of you, and do this on a platform that's visible, that's up here, that's out here, y'all, we can change the world. And so I know that's my purpose. My purpose is not going out and making $300,000 or $400,000 a year. My purpose is not going out and selling 30 or 40 deals a year. My purpose is not real estate. It's not the purpose of the transaction. My purpose is to help each person I can be the best versions of themselves. That's my purpose. But when me and Christy were contentious, when we were at each other, and I'm just being super real with y'all, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. She's in Georgia, in Hartwell. Somehow I knew who Ed Mylett was. I know who Grant Cardone is. I know these people because I've been reading their books. I study what they do. I've been looking at what if you're not studying greatness, y'all, you are missing the boat. If you're not studying greatness and other people, y'all, you're missing a huge opportunity to take little nuggets, to take little steps, to go in a direction that will absolutely propel you to your dreams, propel you to your purpose, propel you to greatness. If you're not studying other people, you are missing out. And I'm going to implore you, encourage you, and gosh dog it, grab you by your ear and say, come do this. Listen to these people. This is what it's about. I'm in Omaha. She's in Georgia. She comes across a thing on her Instagram where it says John Maxwell and Ed Mylett are going to be in Alpharetta, Georgia speaking. John Maxwell's been in leadership, Christian leadership for, 25, 30 years. He's been doing this for a long time. He is a leadership expert. He has dedicated his life to developing leaders, right? That's what we all want to be. That's exactly where Aaron and Christy are headed, is we are trying to be the best version of ourselves as well. And we want to be fantastic leaders. Great name, good recognized name. Christy knows who Ed Mylett is because Ed Mylett came to her through an Instagram post because of retargeting and remarketing. So she sees these two names. Bing, this registers. There's an event in Alpharetta. I'm in Omaha. She's in Georgia. She has nothing to do that weekend. I'm away. She's going to go do something without me. Sounds fun. She clicks the link. There you go. Now we're started. Now the ball has started. However, when she clicks the link for these tickets, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. I know nothing about it. I'm doing my own thing. She's doing her own thing. The tickets are like $2,000 a piece. And she goes, you know what? I like Ed Mylett and I really like John Maxwell. They're fantastic people. But I'm not sure I want to drop 2 G's on a ticket. Understandably so. She gets a phone call from a guy. Thank you, John, and his nickname is his loving name is John Doe. Everybody calls him John Doe. He says he's going to officially change his last name to Doe. I don't think he will, but he may. John calls Christy. Christy's chasing dogs. Everyday life in the Dwyer household. John calls Christy. Christy's chasing dogs. Christy tells John, I'm chasing dogs. I'm going to have to call you back, or you can call me back later. Now, raise your hand if at that point you call someone and someone says to you, just call me back later. I'm doing this. You actually call them back. Raise your hand if you actually follow up on that callback, because what a lot of us do is we think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a bother. I'm not going to follow up. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be a bother. I know they called me. I know I called them, but I don't want to be a bother. so I'm not going to call them back. A lot of us do that. I'm going to give you a little nugget. I want you to write this down. You'll hear this 1,000 different ways, said by 1,000 different people, but the theme is the same. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up, not in the initial phone call, not in the second phone call, not in the card, not in the door knock. The fortune is in the follow-up. Coach Burt says in his book, you got to have 7 to 15 touches. I don't care what marketing person you go to, you have got to follow up more than one time. Thank you, John Doe, for actually setting. John Doe was goal-oriented. John Doe had a goal. John said, I have a goal of getting this many people in this room. John said, I have a goal of getting this many people, this many butts in these seats, so I'm going to follow up. So thank you, John, for doing your job, following up, and not being a chicken, you know what. John follows up with Christy. John calls Christy back. John catches Christy with the dogs in the house. Everything's fine. He says, hey, look, I got these tickets. These people are coming to Alpharetta. Would you like a ticket? Christy says, of course I'd like a ticket, but I wouldn't like a ticket for $2,000. John says, tell you what, dude, I'll make you a deal. It's whatever day. It's 2 days from now. I'll do $200 a ticket. Will you do that? She goes, yes, but I'm going to need 2. John says, done. I'll get you 2 tickets for $200 a piece. Now Christy's like, I'm in. So now Christy's goal is I got to find somebody else to go. So now Christy has become goal oriented. John's done what he had to do. John was goal oriented. John got 2 more tickets sold, $400 for the person that he's selling tickets for. Okay. So now John's goal satisfied. He's on to the next goal. Put more butts in the seats. Sell more tickets. Christy now has a new goal. Christy's new goal is I got to find somebody to go with me. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. Her husband's not going to go with her because I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. Her husband probably wouldn't have gone with her anyway because her husband was not feeling like he wanted to be around her very much at that very point in his particular life. That would be me, by the way, that I'm talking in third person about. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure Christy really wanted me to be around her very much at that point either. I would have loved to have heard Ed Mylett in person. I would have loved to have been in that room. However, I wasn't. Fast forward. Now Christy has a goal. Now Christy's goal-oriented. Christy has something in her mind that she's going to set her mind on. I'm not sure if y'all been around her very much when she gets that bone in her mouth, when she turns into that little bulldog, but there ain't much that's going to stop her once she gets that bone in her mouth and she turns into that bulldog. She talks to Lainey. Lainey wasn't into it. It wasn't for Lainey. Lainey says, I think I got other stuff to do. I got to be back over here doing this stuff. So Lainey didn't go. So who does, and I haven't seen her name on here. Raise your hand. Y'all have heard this me tell this story. So now Christy calls Anna because you know what Anna does? Anna does something that Grant Cardone says all successful people do. And it was number 12. Always say yes. Anna always says yes. Anna comes from a place of yes. Christy calls Anna. Anna says, well, how many nights would she didn't say, what are we doing? Where are we going? What would you like me to do? Anna Davis says, how many nights do I need to pack for? Literally, Christy calls Anna. Christy says, what are you doing this weekend? Anna says, not sure what I'm doing this weekend, but how many nights do I need to pack for? Christy's goal-oriented. Christy secures a second person. Now Anna becomes goal-oriented. Anna becomes goal-oriented. And thank you, Blake Davis, for being so understanding and being such a magnificent husband to Anna Davis and being such a magnificent person for Aaron and Christy and allowing Anna to step in the breach and step into the gap and allowing Anna to say yes. Because a lot of spouses could say, and have probably said about Aaron and Christy, what do they effing want now? What are they doing now? I can assure you there have been some spouses that when you go home and you say, hey, I need to do this. Hey, can I do this? Your spouse is going to look at you and say, what kind of BS idea does Aaron and Christy have? Good morning, Lynn Garrison. What kind of BS idea does Aaron and Christy have now? I can assure you there have been some spouses in this organization who have been a little less than excited about Aaron and Christy's ideas. Sometimes rightfully so. I'm going to give your spouse that. So if you have a spouse that sometimes gets upset with you about Aaron and Christy, tell them to call us and we'll explain it to them. They're not going to listen to you anyway. So now Anna's coming from a place of yes. Now Anna's goal-oriented. Anna and Christy, through hell and high water, end up late to the event. I know that shocks a lot of you, but they're there relatively close. John Maxwell's already speaking. They're not in the seats before. They're there when they're supposed to be there, right? Y'all heard Christy tell the story. They drive through the parking lot that's at the daycare center. They're watching dads take their kids in the daycare center. They're like, oh, what the hell is this? Anna's already got her mindset that this is going to be a crap kind of thing. And Anna told Christy when they were pulling in the parking lot, I don't see us staying past noon. Just based on where the location was. Just based on pulling up. You ever done that before? You ever had a goal set in mind? You ever set something out in front of you and it doesn't quite look like you thought it ought to look in the beginning? It doesn't quite look like you think it ought to look at the start. You set your goal. You think it ought to be one way. And then when you pull up, when you start driving that direction, it's completely different than you thought it would look. Ever happened to you? Where you have this idea that this goal is going to be so fantastic, this end result is going to be so wonderful, and you play out this wonderful scenario to get up to that goal, that the birds are always going to be singing, that the rainbows are always going to be shining, that there's always going to be bright blue skies in the air, and everybody that you talk to is going to say, oh my gosh, Lynn, that is so fantastic. Why don't you go do that? Oh my gosh, Jessica, what a great idea. I think that's fantastic. That ever happen to anybody? Or do sometimes when you step out of your comfort zone to go do something you've never done, does the entire freaking world turn against you? And then everything that you have set up in the spot that you're supposed to be, everything you set up to be supportive, everything you set up to be encouraging, everything you thought it was going to be, there aren't rainbows, in fact, and there aren't birds, and it's raining, and it's cold outside, and you pull up and it looks like a daycare center, and you pull up and you're like, man, this doesn't look like I thought it was going to look. And you're at that place where you could very easily say, because it doesn't look like I thought it was going to look, I'm going to turn this car around and I'm going to go the other direction. Or you pull up in the parking lot and you see that the goal is not exactly what you thought it was going to look like. So you decide to go another direction. You decide to change the mission. You're not dedicated to the goal. Because that very well could have happened. That very well could have happened when Aaron, because I promise you, I've been with my wife when it doesn't look like she thought it ought to look. And I've heard the conversations when it doesn't look like she thought it ought to look. And when she says, we're not staying here. We're not doing this. This is not where we're supposed to be. But in fact, she stayed goal-oriented. She kept her eye on the prize. She kept doing what she was supposed to go do. She pulls in the parking lot, parks the car, gets out, goes inside. Lo and behold, there's this enormous room. There's John Maxwell on the stage. He's actually there. He's not virtual. He's standing on the stage in Alpharetta, Georgia, speaking wisdom. And to hear Christy tell this story, she could not get out of her seat. It was one after the other, after the other, after the other. So she had a goal. She followed through on her goal. In spite of the circumstances, went inside the room, sat down in the room, y'all, and it changed her freaking life. And I'm not saying that. I'm telling y'all right now, whoo. And I wish you were here. But her driving to that goal, her and Anna driving to, and it had to be Anna. It had to be Anna that was with her because Anna says things the only way Anna can say it. And Anna does things the only way that Anna can do it. And when Anna and Christy, my wife, finished that weekend, they were both changed. Do you hear what I'm telling you? They were changed. Because every little piece, as a result of them going into that room, me being in Omaha, Nebraska, Christy and I not talking, me being in another flipping state, me and Christy not talking, Anna not taking Lainey, Anna taking Anna, Anna being there, Anna hearing what she heard, my wife hearing what she heard, has changed Christy's life. It's going to change Anna's life. It has now changed Aaron's life. Because in that event in Alpharetta, Christy meets people. All these little things, these little connections start happening. All these intersections from that moment starts to take place. And so what happens is, as a result of that encounter, as a result of that weekend, as a result of Christy and Anna being in that room, you know what God did? Because this is what God does. This is what God does, y'all. When you take that goal and you say, yeah, this is my goal, this is what I want to do, and then life beats you to death, and life makes you distrust people, and life makes you be upset with people, and life makes you get contentious and defend and battle against. You know what happens in our little self? This little dude up here, what he says was, this goal doesn't matter. Why don't you just go back to being, just be you. Just go back to being in your little shell. Just kind of contract. Go back to go in your little shell. You can't trust people anyway. Everybody's all bad. And y'all, that's what was happening. And I promise you, if my wife was on here, I'd say these. I've said this to her. My wife began to contract. She began to want to close in her circle. She began this process of, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, it was F these people. I'm like, baby, that ain't how this is. That is not what you were built to be. That's not who we were. That's not what we were built to do. That is not where we're going. But this event and this weekend, that weekend reinvigorated my wife. She sent me a text message, as much as it pained her to reach out and text me. She sent me a text message that said, I wish you were here hearing what I'm hearing. That was the only communication we had all weekend long. I wish you were here hearing what I'm hearing. And I said, I wish I was there too. Because I know Ed Mylett. I've been listening to Ed Mylett. I know John Maxwell. I've been listening to John Maxwell. I wish I was in that room too. But it wasn't for me. It was for her. And it wasn't for me. It was for Anna. But the goal was the same, because here's what happened. That goal that she had put down and walked away from, and she decided in her flesh, she listened to her little, and I'm not saying this any other.
I'm still not sure about that.
I'm not saying this any other way, because this is not directed at her. But Michelle Tilson will understand what I'm saying, because it's a 10X, it's a Grant Cardone thing, or an Andy Frisella thing. She was listening to her bitch voice, and not the angry lady voice. It's the little bitch voice that tells you to give up, tells you to quit, tells you to put your goals down, tells you that it's too hard, tells you that it's too difficult, tells you that your dreams and your desires, your purpose really doesn't matter. It's that little bitch voice on your shoulder that tells you to quit when you shouldn't quit, tells you to stop when you shouldn't stop. What God did that weekend is God grabbed that goal, He brought it back to her, He dusted it off, and not only did He bring it back to her, He made it bigger. And when he dusted the old goal off and he set it down, He replaced it with a bigger one. And He said, hey, I get it. I love you. You're my child. My purpose and my dreams for you haven't changed. My purpose and my passion for your life, God saying this to Christy, hasn't changed. Here you go. It's bigger. So what happens is she gets introduced to these people. She has these conversations. Her mind has completely changed now. And she has gone from this to this, from this little goal to this big goal. She comes back and she says, we're going to Puerto Rico. We got to be around these people. We're going to Puerto Rico. We got to be around this group of people. These are my people. These are our people. These are people that think like we think, that love like we love, that do what we do. They just do it on a magnificently higher, a grander scale. They do it from a bigger stage. They do it from a bigger heart. They do it from more influence. They do it from, we ended up in Puerto Rico. I've never been to Puerto Rico. Eat something there, tourist, Jam. I've never been to Puerto Rico. They say it's nice. Guess what? It is. When we go to Puerto Rico, we are in a room, y'all. You ever wondered how you ever sat back and seen how God elevates you, how God changes your circles, how God brings you through things, enhances what He brought you through, brings you through pain, brings you through crap, brings you through adversity. You get stronger. You just keep plugging away, and then all of a sudden, you walk through this room, you walk through this door that God wants you to walk through, and you look around, you go, holy crap, God, is this for me? And God says, well done, Because I don't believe that's at the end of your life. I don't believe that's just what he says at the end. I believe God looks down and smiles. I believe God, when you're following your purpose, when you're doing the things that you're supposed to do, when you love on other people, when you do what you're supposed to do, God looks down on you. When you keep your goal in your heart, when you keep your purpose in your spirit, when you keep walking in spite of the adversity, in spite of the rain, in spite of the cold, in spite of the challenges, and you keep going, I'm telling you, God looks down and says to you, well done. Keep going. We sit in a room. Trying to gather my emotions here. We sit in a room with a dude named Sean Swarner who stands up in front of us and speaks. Sean Swarner has climbed the highest 7 peaks on 7 continents in the United States. I'm sorry, on the planet. He has climbed the 7 highest peaks in 7 different continents. He's done it. There aren't very many people that have done. I think maybe he's the only one that's done that. He's in a select group. In addition to running the championship level Ironman in Hawaii. So not only has he summited the highest peaks on the planet, he's run the championship marathon or triathlon of the Ironman, which is grueling. But he's done it with 1 lung. He did it with 1 lung. He has had not 1 terminal cancer. He's had 2 terminal cancers. He was given less than a month to live, not once, but twice. Y'all see in my Instagram story, that tall, lanky dude that I'm shaking hands with that I said is a superhero, that he's superhuman? That's him. We hear him speak. We get to hear him talk. I get to meet him and hang out with him. Dude, that is like literally meeting a superhero. Gary Brecka, the biohacker. We're in the room with Gary Brecka. Upgrade. Gary Brecka's doing work with Joe Dispenza. You ever heard me talk about Joe Dispenza? Because if you've been around a little bit, you've heard me mention Dr. Joe Dispenza a ton. Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of the world's leading experts in neuroplasticity. He's one of the world's leading experts in how to rewire new brain function. He's one of the world's leading experts into how to biologically create new nerve synapses in your brain. Y'all, he is teaching us how to rewire our brains. Gary Brecka, we're sitting at dinner. The last night. Gary Brecka FaceTimes the guy who's Ken Jocelyn, who created this group, who started this whole deal, FaceTimes him from an first-class Emirates airplane and says, "What's up, dude?" Just a, "Hey, how you doing? How are your people? What's happening?" Gary Brecka is the biohacker. The video that I put on our page, the agent page here, to do the DNA, to do the testing, to give you your deal. Y'all, his world, his job, his purpose in his life is to impact the world. It is to, when Grant Cardone said, "I want to make you a millionaire, I'm going to write you a check for blah, 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 blah," Gary Brecka said, "Well, hang on a second. I'm happy being a millionaire, but I don't believe that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I think my job is to impact 1 million lives. And with your help, Grant, we can impact 1 million lives." These are the people that we're in the room with. We're in the room with a guy named Vic Keller. Vic's actually there. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the name Vic Keller, but if you haven't heard who Vic Keller is, you probably ought to do a little bit of research with Vic Keller. Vic Keller is in the room with us. Vic Keller, at 48 years old, is a multi-billionaire. Not millionaire, billionaire. Grant Cardone, when he got in the sales business, you've heard him tell stories of selling used cars. He worked at a Toyota dealership that Vic Keller owned. Research Vic Keller. Just so you understand how the circles have changed, how the things have been elevated, what God does. I got Vic Keller's phone number in my phone. I could text Vic Keller whenever I feel like texting Vic Keller. When I'm telling you, following your purpose, going through the adversity, keeping on the path, doing what you do, saying what you say, y'all, you know what? All these little barking dogs down here that have been barking, I don't give an absolute, let them bark. Christy, because she was goal-oriented, because she was focused on an outcome, because she was focused on exactly where she needed to be and what she needed to do, has changed the trajectory of Aaron and Christy. She has changed the trajectory of every one of you that choose to continue this journey with us. She has changed the trajectory of every one of you who continue to be in love with us, and not in love, but I'm saying love is a verb. Love is an action. Continue to want to change the world with us. Continue to want to do real estate with us. Continue to want to be a part of this group, our organization, and what we do. I am telling you, if you will lock arms with us, if you will grab the hands of the people who are trying to pull away and lock arms with them, don't grab them by their hand, grab them by their arms. Lock arms with us, y'all. What you're about to experience, and I've got chills right now saying this. What you are about to experience is unlike anything you've ever experienced before. I want you to think about every time we've told you anything about exit, anything we told you about exit realty, anything we've told you about Exit Realty Lake Country. I want you to take those words and how those words create feelings and things in your heart and how good that make you feel. And I want you to freaking multiply that by 100,000. The upgrade that is in process, the circles that are being brought in, the names, the people, the love. Because here's the, you know what? Is it cool that Vic Keller has made billions and billions of dollars? It's super cool. It is super awesome. It is super fantastic. But if you get on his Instagram, start following him. The Instagram post that he shared yesterday was about love. His whole deal is, I have to love people. And if you don't love people, nothing else matters. This dude is a rock star. And his entire business is around the person. His entire business is about bringing out the individual potentiality in an individual person. Have you ever heard me say that before? What God has done is he has taken this and said, that was really cool. And y'all have done really well with that. But guess what? It's time to trade the good for the great. It's time for me to upgrade that thing and make it bigger and make it better. And so what God has done is God has pruned away, as painful as it is, as many tears as have been shed, as many hearts that have been broken, as many things that we've gone through. I am telling you right now, if you are hearing this video, watching this video, you're a part of Exit Realty Lake Country. You're a part of around the Exit Realty Lake Country Nation. Y'all need to stand firm, lock arms, get you some water, take you a couple of deep breaths, maybe stretch your hamstrings, because what we're about to do is blow the effing doors off this thing. Because successful people are goal-oriented, and my goals, I believe in my life, are God's goals for my life. I look at my wife now, y'all. She is reinvigorated, man. She is smiling. She is happy. She is being her. Her goals are God's goals for her life. And I'm telling you, y'all just pray for us, because it's big. It's a preacher joke. New levels, new devils. It's a preacher joke, but y'all, it's true. For every good thing that's trying to happen, something bad's trying to stop it. And when the good gets big, so does the bad. And as big as the good gets, the bad gets even bigger. Because I promise you, if it was a little bitty bad, God doesn't scare me with a barking puppy anymore. The devil can't scare me. I don't get scared by barking puppies anymore. I don't get scared about running mountains anymore. I don't get scared about getting up and doing stuff anymore. He makes them bigger. So y'all pray. Y'all pray that we have some discernment. I want you to stay. Well, I got to get out of here. I'm about 8 minutes late. Keep focused on your goal in spite of what you see around you, in spite of the noise. It's just noise. It's just distractions. They're just things to get you off your path, to get you away from your goal, to keep you from your purpose. The voice that you're hearing in your head is just to divert your purpose, divert your plan, and to get you off track. Stay focused. Stay focused. Lock arm in arm with everybody, y'all. Our community is expanding. It is not contracting. I know when you look at it from the surface, the things that have happened over the last 6 to 8 months, you may feel like that our circle is contracting, but it is not contracting, not even a little bit. Our circle is growing. And for those who choose to lock arms with Aaron and Christy, for those who choose to lock arms with this collection of people that we're putting together, for those of you who lock arms with us, lock arms in love, lock arms in strength, lock arms in purpose, y'all, we are about to blow the doors off of this thing. What God has put together, no man can pull apart. I love y'all. Let your goal, let your purpose, let your passion drive your day today. Let your goal, let your purpose, let your passion drive your thoughts today. Let your goal, let your purpose, let your passion drive your behaviors today. If you're not solid on your goals, if you're not, and y'all, goal is such a trite word. If you're not solid on your purpose, if you're not solid on your direction, call me today. Let's spend 30 minutes on the phone and talk through that. If you're not firm on your purpose, let's get on a Zoom call today and let's figure that out. Let's get that direction. Let's start to pray through that. Let's start to figure our way through that, because I promise you it's there. You just got to knock away some of those layers. You got to knock away some of the crap that's happened. You got to knock away some of that stuff. Pick up a book, read a Bible, go to coffee with a friend, Zoom Aaron, Zoom Christy, Zoom Lynn, Zoom a leader in this company, Zoom your mentor. I don't care. Get on the path to your purpose. Get on the path to your purpose today. Don't quit. Don't stop. Do it. I love y'all. Be good. Be great. Be you. Love you. Love you. Love y'all. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully you got something out this morning. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye, y'all.